There's good meatloaf, there's bad meatloaf, and there's really dry meatloaf, but not this time, folks. When you stuff this hamburger and sausage meatloaf with cream cheese and 2 different kinds of cheese and a chipotle glaze that goes on top, and one of the greatest things is you can have meatloaf sandwiches all week long. Now, when you talk meatloaf, everybody's thinking ground beef. But folks, if you want to get more flavor than that, we're going to add 2 pounds of ground beef. Sure we are. But we're going to add 2 pounds of pork sausage too. We need to go ahead and get that incorporated together. There's actually 4 pounds of meat here. So we're not just going to season once. We're going to go ahead and give it a pretty good dash of our original. And we're going to let it sit here a minute and let all them flavors sort of blend together before we rush it, because you can't rush a good meatloaf. I was at a horse race one time, and there was a horse there. His name was Meatloaf.
Really?
Yes. Somebody should have rushed him because he come in last, and I put $2 on him. So if you go to a horse race and you see one in there named Meatloaf, be careful, folks.
I mean, I think it was your first clue his name was Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Not like Fast Runner.
Yeah, or Seabiscuit. Uh-oh. Have culinary here cleaning up scraps. We'll give this another shaking of our original. We're going to let that cover and set for probably about 5 or 10 minutes. And we'll go check on the fire because we need to get it started in the smoker. Are you tired of overcooked meat? Are you tired of pulling it off the grill and it's too rare for you? Well, let me tell you what you need, folks. That is Chef's Tip. We want to thank Chef's Tip for sponsoring this video, and y'all have seen me use their product many times. You need to have this because you don't want it overcooked. But when you're cooking with ground processed meat, you sure don't want it undercooked either. So this will get you by, but for a longer cook too, they also have their Pro Temp Plus that you can just stick in there, go in on the couch, program it on your phone, take a nap. When the timer goes off, you can come out here and they'll think you're the best cook in the world. If you use the code and you order some of their product now, they're going to give you a great discount, 30% off. Be sure and check out that code down there below. These are good people. They believe in us and support our channel, and we thank them so much. You know, most people, when they have all these veggies that's going in there, which is the onions, the jalapenos, and the bell peppers, they might just mix them right in the meat. But sometimes, to me, stuff ends up a little crunchy in there. I like to give it some flavor, so we got a whole stick of butter in here. And we're going to soften everything up. We diced up 2 red bell peppers, 2 yellow bell peppers, 1 really large onion, and 3 jalapenos with the stem and the seeds out. So we're just going to brown this up a little. Things is a little unlevel in camp, so we're going to rotate that around here. But we'll get this browned up, then I'll meet y'all back at the chuck box and we'll go put meatloaf together. It's time to make the sauce, and it ain't coming out of no can that you just pour over the top. We're going to put it all together. We're going to use some ketchup. Probably about, I'd say, 3/4 of a cup. Gotta have a little mustard, you do. Some of the W sauce, y'all can call it whatever you want to. That's what I'm gonna call it. One of my most secret ingredients that I love, it's dear to my heart, it is chipotles, peppers, and adobo sauce. So we gotta chop all these up. It'll take just a minute, so bear with me. If you got one of them slap choppers or blenders, magic food bullets, whatever you want to call them, you can do this a whole lot faster and quicker than I am, but I don't see no electricity out here, so I'm just gonna go with what I got. So in it goes. Now when we get through mixing this up, if we don't think this is wet enough, we're gonna add us a little more ketchup, because I want it to be sort of like a thick soup when we get through. Some sweetening now, which is some honey. So you can see when we got the honey mixed in there, it is blended pretty well, it is. So our veggies has cooled off there a little. Let's get everybody back over here and we'll go to assembling the meatloaf. It's one of them jobs you better roll your sleeves up, because you never know what might be fitting to happen. I think that's cool enough that we can get it over here. Go to sprinkling it around the top. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this a little with this spoon, if I can keep it all in the bowl. But really the spoon ain't happening, so We're just going to do what you should have done in the first place before I thought of the spoon. And you can see there is a lot of moisture in there. I can remember Grandma and my mother making meatloaf long ago when I was little and watching them. You know, today we're going to use breadcrumbs, but I've seen them use Ritz crackers, cracker crumbs, old biscuits, whatever they could get to sort of get that as a binding agent. We're going to save a little, I'd say probably, that's probably pretty close to a half that we're going to reserve because we need it for glazing. But also to that, 3 eggs. Cackleberries, run to the neighbors if you ain't got no chickens. Tell them you need to borrow some of them. See if we can get this to going again. Sadie, have you ever had meatloaf? I know how long it's been since we had meatloaf. You've been with us about 3 years and you ain't never got to eat no meatloaf, have you?
Kind of got a messy area here.
I'm finna clean it up here. That's why I've been known to cook outside, because I tend to make a little mess at times. I can do this here, but you better not do it in the kitchen floor. You will get in trouble if you get caught.
Your bowl is getting a little full.
Yeah, it is. We should put some sideboards on it, I think. I'll tell you what, just for y'all, I'm gonna measure it.
Oh, wow.
You know, I think it's gonna be like 3 or 4 cups, but we'll see. There's one. We're gonna start with 2 anyway. And once again, we're gonna have to get in it here in a minute, I know. But a lot of times when I first started making meatloaf, I wouldn't get enough binding agent to them and they never would set up. They'd fall apart when you try to cut them. And we're gonna give it a little shake more, Shan. And I'm gonna get my hands in it. You know, the consistency I'm looking for is if you put this together, make it into a little roll here. Does it crack open? Does it stay together? I would say so. That's about what we're after. As rare to form there as it might not be, there was no wind a while ago, but now you can see if you break out any kind of aluminum foil, plastic wrap, wax paper, anything like that, it's gonna happen. Let's dump it out of the bowl, if it'll dump. And it did. That is 4 pounds of meat plus a whole lot of vegetables. So, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, make it a little easier for me, Shan, is we're gonna try to get this.
You're doing one big loaf?
One big loaf, I hope. If we had hamburger buns big enough, we'd just cook it like this. We're going to try to get these corners to where they are pretty close to the same. I'd say we're going to quit right there. That's a 1/2 inch thick. I would say a large oval. If you want to square it up, you sure can. Put it over here, make it a rectangle, whatever you want. But we're going to start right here in the dead center of the middle, and we're going to add cheese all the way across. I'd like to have a little cream cheese to go with my meatloaf, so we're going to see. This has been out there in the sunshine warming, so we're just going to try to pinch some off here to where we can get it spread out here in a minute. Get your knife, see if you can just spread it around on that cheese. Does this meet your approval, Mage?
Lou's working on something down there.
What you got, Lou?
She found a paper towel.
Then we're going to go back with mozzarella. Go right on top.
Okay, hang on. I just have a question. Usually, like if you were doing a pumpkin roll or something, you know, the insides would be spread all around it. So that's when you roll it up, it's all, that's just going to be, is that what you're wanting? I just want to make sure before we go further.
No, I want it all over. Shan had a good point there, she did. We want this to be all over this. Everybody's going to have cheese. Everybody's going to get some cream cheese. So we went back and divided that cheese up all over this. So when you roll it, we're going to get it, added the rest of the cream cheese, which makes a block. So let's see if we can get it rolled up like a pumpkin roll at Thanksgiving. Get you a piece of wax paper. Let's get them ends pushed up so it's pretty uniform. That way everything's gonna try to cook the same.
That went smoother than I thought.
We're gonna cut her right down the middle. And we got 2 halves.
Ooh, that does look good.
And now you got what you call pumpkin roll meatloaf for Christmas. Now you could try to put this right on the smoker just like it is, but folks, to me it cooks a little too fast and it tries to burn the bottom eventually. So let me show you what we've rigged up here. We have a cast iron skillet and a grate that come out of old Bertha. I'm gonna give it just a little greasing. Now, just like nitroglycerin, we're gonna try to handle it with care. And we're gonna put one of them right here. Hey, we're going to the smoker, get it on. It's nearly past supper time. Time to put the meatloaf on the smoker. It's preheated about 300 degrees. We're gonna add us 2 chunks of hickory wood to go along with that oak, but don't get carried away with that hickory because it can get a little bitter at times. Meatloaf, one of my favorite subjects. We've been on, let me see here, 1 hour and 6 minutes. So let's break out the chef's temp. I hope we're at about 110 long in there because we're about halfway through cooking. So we're pretty close in an hour. I just like to give it a little basting, I do. And don't you love my pretty little brush here? So we're just gonna give it over here because I wanna seal this. Some of it's trying to slip and I'm hoping that that honey in there will do that job. That we used about half this sauce. Get everybody a really good glazing we did. We're running about 325 degrees. That's where I want to be. We're going to go about another 45 minutes to an hour. We want to end up at an internal temp of 165 degrees, and then it's meatloaf time. Finally got here, it did. Oh my gosh, and it is my favorite meal. I can't wait to dig in and have it. But first thing that jumps out to me is that chipotle glaze that we put on there. I mean, it just sort of ties it on together. But
and it kind of caramelizes.
Yeah, and I've been waiting a long time to have a bite of this. Y'all are gonna have to wait. I can't wait till this really cools off and we can have it on a sandwich. Oh my gosh.
I mean, this has been hard to film because this looks so good.
You know, the sausage really is a key factor in this because it brings about a lot of moisture that you're keeping in there. But I got 2 pups out here. The meat's a little spicy. Let's have some mashed potatoes. There's one. Mage, I want to thank you for garden camp. You're taking the Beeg's place. Good job, buddy. Whew. Another big shout out and a thank you to Chef's Temp. Hey, y'all be sure and take advantage of that discount code down there. And it's never too early to start shopping for Christmas, and you can see Santa Claus bringing them. He'll just have a whole bunch of them. But we thank y'all a whole lot from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in. We appreciate it. We never take it for granted. But it is with pride, privilege, and honor that I tip my hat to all our servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag flying over camp. Get on in here quick because I ain't going to wait for you long. I'm going to go get some bread, make me a meatloaf sandwich. God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down the stuffed meatloaf trail. I would like to scratch my nose, but I know it's got enough jalapeno on it to set the world on fire. Never get a bite, so you're going to have one. And I want your honest opinion because you make a really good meatloaf, you do.
I love the cream cheese and chipotle. That's like the star.
It is so good, it is.